I heard the comment when Donald Trump said, you know what, we'll just make Canada the 51st state.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that is, well, we've listened to Donald Trump make comments before in every area, and they're all just on the edge, out on thin ice, and, you know, wild. And I'm going, wow, that's what he would say. And then our prime minister, that can't happen. It's like, have you read his book? Have you?
Yes.
Have you watched TV? Have you watched Donald Trump at all?
Yeah.
You just got sucked into his little vortex, and you're his little puppet now.
Yeah.
Like, what? And this guy is running our country.
Yeah, it's
like,
that
that ticked me off so bad.
Yeah.
You know,
he actually got us into a worse situation.
Absolutely.
It's like I've read, like I was talking about this example before, where and it's a great one. You can find it on YouTube, because it was an interview that somebody had with Trump a while back, and the interviewer asked him. He says, "Okay, show me give me an incident where you put somebody on their heels so that you can somehow get something out of them." And then Donald Trump just backed up a little bit. He says, "You know, sorry, but you got really bad breath." And the guy goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," you know. And he says, "That's how I do it." And the guy was just on. It was really funny in the interview, but realistically, when you look at it, it's not an intellectual thing that he was doing, you know, like, oh, you have to think, and you know, and oh, you're trying to double jump. No, you hit him where the guy isn't expecting anything at all, and then you see what happens.
Yeah,
and then you react, and you get the best deal. Based on how because now you have an opportunity. You know, there's a guy 40, 50 miles from where we're sitting right now who was approached by Donald Trump a number of years ago, pre-COVID, because he had a water well that had the purest water. It's the second best water well in the world, apparently, or something like that. Some really high. And Donald Trump wanted to work to get water from that well so they can have Trump water, okay? And initially, the first time Trump contacted him, the guy thought, "Oh my goodness, I'm working with Donald Trump. Oh, good," because, you know. And he says the week went after week, and it sounded like a really great deal, and then it got down, and it got down, and it got worse, and it got worse, and worse and worse, and eventually he got so ticked off with Trump that he says, "That's it. I'm never working with Trump." Well, I like that kind of a business attitude, because he was very objective about that. But that is classic Trump, where you go in there and you're going to offer him the world, and then you say, "Oh, look at that. That's not right. That's not right. That's right." And then you go down, and eventually you're supposed to give it to him for 10 cents. You know, that was classic Trump from his book. You know, and realistically, I mean, you look at the history of how he got Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he was, you know, going to pay a huge amount for it. That fell through, and then he later on got it for much less than what he was ready to offer, and so it was he is an opportunistic person. So when he says, "I'm going to have Canada as my 51st state," or whatever, then he just sits and waits for Canada to react and see what all happens. Well, Trudeau just flies off and blah 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 and all sorts of things, and then it started the circle down, you know, and then meanwhile Trudeau gets basically, I guess, ousted because nobody wants to work with him anymore, and now we are rudderless. We don't have a prime minister a prime minister in mouth only, because that's all he really has, and we're all waiting for an election. We've been waiting for a blasted election now for what feels like decades, because if we would have an election today, Polyev would be prime minister, and we'd at least have some sort of common sense kind of a situation there. But now he's dragged Canada into the worst situation possible, and if anybody has any downfall, any kind of negative response because of this apparent tariffs that are coming in, you have nobody to blame but Trudeau. Trudeau should have either stepped down a year ago or had called an election a year ago.
If we wouldn't have had the voting machines, he wouldn't have gotten back in last time.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah,
it was all rigged again.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think there was election interference. Like
yes, there was.
That is said. Okay, and if there was an election interference there, then what is he afraid of now?
I think something happened in Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, but no, but okay. Getting back to your original question, if the last election was rigged so that Trudeau shouldn't have got in, okay, then why doesn't he have an election now? Because can't he rig the same thing now that he did a number of years ago, 4 years ago?
No, that wouldn't
because
work.
Then the electronic.
See, now the people are awake. They saw what happened in the U.S. and those machines came from Canada, and they saw what happened in the U.S. He knows now. He wouldn't even get.
I think part of it is also that a comment that Donald Trump made. He said, "We're going to win so big you can't rig it."
Yeah.
And right now, the country's mind frame for Trudeau is too overtly the opposite way. And if it would be rigged,
like Venezuela.
Yeah. Then
two-thirds of the country, two-thirds of the group was against the president, but then he says, "No, I won anyway."
Yeah.
And all the evidence is there. Okay, no.
Yeah, Bolivia did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's my idea with it.
I don't know what full impact last election was for or against Trump or for or against Trudeau or so, but I know he doesn't have a chance now.
No.